historic conflicts.
September 1st, 1939. At dawn, German troops suddenly stormed across the Polish border. In just hours, the world was dragged into the most devastating war in human history, World War II. But was this just a sudden event? Or was it the result of years, decades of tension, mistakes, ambition, and dangerous compromise? Let's rewind time, turn the pages of history, and uncover the real reasons behind the war that killed over 70 million people. In 1918, World War I ended with Germany's defeat. But many Germans didn't feel like they lost a war. They felt betrayed. The Treaty of Versailles in 1919 hit Germany hard. They were forced to accept full responsibility for the war, lost 13% of their territory. Their army was limited to just 100,000 men. They had to pay massive war reparations. These humiliations planted the seeds of resentment, and from that bitter soil, something dark began to grow. Adolf Hitler, a former soldier, a fiery speaker, and a man with a vision. In 1933, Hitler became Chancellor of Germany. Within a few years, he transformed the Weimar Republic into a totalitarian Nazi regime. Under the slogan, "Make Germany Great Again," he rearmed the military, tore up the Versailles Treaty, and promised living space, Lebensraum, for the pure German race. But fascism wasn't only rising in Germany. In Italy, Benito Mussolini seized power with his own fascist movement. And in Japan, military leaders gained control, pushing aggressive expansion across Asia. These three countries would soon become the Axis powers, driven by ambition and heading toward war. After the bloodshed of World War I, Britain and France were deeply scarred, politically, economically, and emotionally. Determined to avoid another devastating conflict, their leaders adopted a strategy of appeasement, giving in to Hitler's demands in hopes that he would be satisfied. In 1936, Hitler boldly marched German troops into the Rhineland, a demilitarized zone forbidden by the Treaty of Versailles. The Allies looked the other way. In 1938, he annexed Austria in what he called the Anschluss. Again, no military response, no consequences. Later that year, Hitler set his sights on the Sudetenland, a region of Czechoslovakia with a large German-speaking population. In the infamous Munich Agreement, Britain and France agreed to let Hitler have it, without consulting the Czechs. British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain returned home declaring, "Peace for our time." But peace was the last thing on Hitler's mind. For him, it was just the next step toward domination. In August 1939, the world was shocked. Germany and the Soviet Union, sworn enemies, signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, a non-aggression agreement with a secret clause to split Poland between them. 1 week later, on September 1st, Germany invaded Poland using blitzkrieg tactics. Lightning War. 2 days later, Britain and France declared war on Germany. World War II had officially begun. What began as a European conflict soon exploded into a full-scale global war. In Europe, Nazi Germany launched a lightning-fast campaign, conquering Poland, Denmark, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, and then France within just a year. By mid-1941, Hitler turned east and invaded the Soviet Union in Operation Barbarossa, the largest land invasion in history. It was here on the brutal Eastern Front that the war reached a new level of horror. The Battle of Stalingrad turned the city into a frozen graveyard, with soldiers fighting street by street, house by house, in bitter cold and blood-soaked ruins. In Asia, Japan had already invaded Manchuria in 1931, and full-scale war with China broke out in 1937. But on December 7, 1941, Japan shocked the world by launching a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor. Overnight, the United States joined the war. In North Africa and the Middle East, British, Italian, and German forces clashed in desert battles across Libya, Egypt, and Tunisia. Cities like Cairo and Tobruk became strategic prizes. In the Pacific, the U.S. and Japan fought bitterly for control of islands across the ocean: Midway, Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa, each battle bloodier than the last. By the height of the conflict, more than 100 million soldiers from over 30 countries had been mobilized. From frozen Russia to tropical jungles, from desert sands to stormy seas, the entire planet had become a battlefield. By 1945, the world had endured nearly 6 years of unimaginable destruction. In April of that year, as Soviet forces closed in on Berlin, Adolf Hitler took his own life in a bunker beneath the city. Just days later, Nazi Germany surrendered unconditionally. Europe could finally breathe, but the war was far from over. In the Pacific, Japan continued to fight fiercely. The United States, desperate to avoid a bloody invasion of the Japanese mainland, made a fateful decision. In August 1945, 2 atomic bombs were dropped, first on Hiroshima, then on Nagasaki. In an instant, entire cities were wiped off the map. Tens of thousands died within seconds. Tens of thousands more suffered slow, agonizing deaths from radiation. On August 15th, Japan surrendered. World War II had come to a final, devastating end. The cost? An estimated 70 to 80 million lives lost, more than half of them civilians. The Holocaust alone claimed the lives of 6 million Jews. Cities like Warsaw, Dresden, and Tokyo were reduced to rubble. Millions were left homeless, orphaned, or scarred for life. The war left the world changed forever, morally, politically, and emotionally. From the ashes, a new world order would rise. But the wounds would take generations to heal. World War II wasn't just a battle of guns and tanks. It was a story of pride, hatred, ambition, and the price of silence in the face of evil. History doesn't repeat itself, but it does echo. And if we don't understand the past, we risk losing control of the future. If you found this story meaningful, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think World War II could have been prevented? See you in the next story of our shared human history. Thank you for respecting history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and write the bell so you don't miss any battles.